Time for another video. We're doing guitar this time. Whoa, we haven't done guitar for a while, so we're doing guitar. And this one's electric, the other one's acoustic, whatever. Anyhow, today we're gonna do a little bit of jazzy stuff. So please don't click off. It's jazz, but it's cool. It's cool. This is gonna be cool. We're gonna talk about kind of a blues jazz progression, but we're gonna fill out the walking bass part, which I play bass, so it's like that's my part. While we're playing some chords along with it. This isn't anything crazy crackers. There's a few prerequisites. We'll zoom through them today, but just a few jazz chordy things that I'll talk about as we go through. So we're really dealing with mostly 7th chords. That's it. Like we're gonna do it in the key of G today, but the shapes I'm using can work in most keys. I just chose G arbitrarily. So here's some jazzy stuff. Now first, let's talk about some chords. As I mentioned, these are all 7th chords, maybe slightly condensed from what you're used to, and they're not open position chords. They're going to be movable chords, so you can play most of this in any key. So key of G is what we're doing. So the first chord we're doing is G7 to start it off. And I played, if you look at some of these jazz progression books where they talk about different chords, this one is straight out of there. It's going to use the middle, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, and the top string. So first finger on top, 3rd fret to hit the low G, and then it's kind of like a diamond where it's 3rd fret, skip a string, 3rd fret, skip a string, 3rd fret, and I go back up one string and put my pinky to play the G7 like that. And if you notice, this hand is just going to be doing open fingering, so I'm not actually using a pick today. Thumb is going to be doing some of the higher strings, but we'll go from there. So that's our G7. That's going to be our 1 chord in this situation. Then we're going to move to a C7, which most people know the open C7 chord like this. But we're just going to stick it to 3 notes. The C, the E, and the B flat. So 3rd fret of the A string, 2nd fret of the D string, and then 3rd fret of the G string. So we have our G7 to our C7, our 2 4th chords. Now, the 5 chord we'll be using is just going to be a simple, same kind of thing as what we did with the C7, same shape, but just built on the 5th fret of the A string instead of the 3rd fret. That's our G, G7, C7, and D7. I'm going to be getting up to the 6th chord, but I'm going to, instead of playing it as like a minor, I'm going to play it as a 7th chord. So I'm going to use the same shape we did here. So I'm playing an E7. So I have G7, C7, D7, and E7 for my chords. Okay, so the progression is going to look like this. G for a measure, C for a measure. Back to G for 2 measures. Then I'm going to come back to the C for 2 measures, like C7, and then come back to the G for 1 measure, then move up to the E7. And then from there, I'm going to move to the 2 chord in this case, which again, I'm just going to use 7ths this whole time. So this is going to be similar to the G7 we did back over there, except built like a A7. So it's the 2 of the G. And then I move up to the 5, which is the D7, and then I'll return to the root, and then jump quickly through those 4 chords for a couple counts each. Now you might see like my G, I'm not actually playing the full G all the time. I actually often will play only 2 notes in the chordal structure there, instead of playing I'm playing the 7th, 3rd, like I have a tritone there, and then so 3rd and 5th, but sometimes I leave the 5th out because I just feel like it. So here's the whole progression: 2, 3, 4, C7 for the 4. To G7, and for giggles I'm just going to throw a sharp 5. Now from here I go to the C7. I'm just going to sit on C7, I'm not changing there. Going back to the root chord, which is the G7. Then jumping up to the E7. Then going to the 2 of the A7. Then to the D7. And then I'm going to 2 beats for each of those. So G7, E7, A7, D7, and then end it, restart again. Those are all the 7ths there. Walking basses are generally a quarter note motion. Because we're doing 7th chords, there's often these motions to the chords that you can do instead of doing like a, so from G to C for example. Doing a G, A, B, C works, but it sounds a little more jazzy, has that dissonance to it when you hit the 7th. And I chromatically will walk up instead going. A whole step backwards. So between those chords I might do this. And I'll do this hopping beat on the and of 1, but once we get in the chords in. So it'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. We have 5 chords. And what I'm going to do, just kind of, there's that turnaround we're going to do, which goes through the 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. And I'm just really going to jump through those really quick, but how I would often think of that, say I'm starting at 1, then because I only have like one beat to get there, I'm going to have my transition note. So I have my 1, 2, doing, in this case I'm doing a D sharp to lead to the E. And then to get the A minor, or sorry, in this case A7, I'm going to fall from an A sharp, B flat, to the A. And then here, depending on how I'm feeling at the time, I might go back to the D sharp to fall to the D, the 5th. Or I might go to the C sharp, D flat, to get to the D, and then fall again to the G. So I'm going to play through that whole progression using a bit of the walk going on with the chords jumping on the ah of 1. So 1, ah 2, 3, 4, 1, ah 2 for the chords. 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that was the thing, jazz, walking bass line through like a 12-bar jazz blues thing. Hopefully that made sense, how the bass would keep popping along, and really the chords are coming in as like little shots just after the beat once, 1, ah, right after there. Hopefully it all made sense and sound kind of nifty. If you have comments or questions, put them in the bottom thing. Subscribe, because that makes me a happy person, and like the video, and all those things. See you next time.